Okay, welcome back to Law&Crime, everybody. We are live right now in the Henry Segura trial, the quadruple homicide case. And Silas Thornton, who is a name that we heard in the opening statements, he was just on the stand, defendant's friend who testified that he has seen Segura with a gun in the past. And then under cross-examination, the defense was trying to say, well, how familiar was this man with weapons and that he had been shot in the past. I think we're just waiting to jump live as a new witness jumps on the stand, so maybe I can get some perspective right now. Joining me is Law&Crime legal analyst Elura Nanos and former prosecutor Melba Pearson. It's great to have you both here. Elura, I'm going to start with you. Okay, so we have this first witness talking about that Segura, he's seen him with a gun. This is coupled with the testimony from last week that, you know, one of the witnesses says that Segura was trying to get a gun, and that another witness said that he had a gun that is the same type of gun that was used in this case. So as much as we attack the prosecution's lack of evidence, that's something, is it not, Elura?
I mean, it's something, right? It's not everything. I mean, people have guns, right? And people who live in this drug world often have guns. So I think that what the meaning of this, it is important in that it's an unusual type of gun. You know, he was looking for a gun. The timing is relevant. Yeah, so it's something. But let's remember that the defense here is that, you know, this victim lived in this world where she was involved with drug cartels. I don't know that it's enough to really divert attention from all of these other characters who might have been responsible for her death. But you're right that it's something, you know, and this is the way prosecution cases are built, piece by piece, brick by brick. So this is one brick. Is it enough to come back with a guilty verdict? I doubt it, but it's one brick that, you know, it's better than not having it.
Well, Melba, what do you think as a former prosecutor, as the state is putting on their week 2 of their evidence? How are they doing so far, in your opinion?
Well, like Elura said, you have to build a case as a prosecutor brick by brick and piece by piece. And it's a layering effect. So he was looking for this gun. You know, he was able to, the argument is he was able to get that gun. You look at the forensics and the ballistics that indicate a very unique gun was being used. So all of these little pieces form the puzzle, which could result in a guilty verdict. And it is an interesting defense that is being used that, well, it's not that interesting from the standpoint that it's basically the some other dude did it defense, right? It wasn't me, some other dude did it. So they're saying that this gang went ahead and did this. But there seems to be some hallmarks of domestic violence between the relationship between the lady and the victim in this case and a defendant. And the fact that the kids were killed also is very interesting because 2 of the kids were not his. So again, that gives that hallmark of a domestic violence type situation and that rage, because a lot of times in drug killings, yes, children are killed, but that is very, very rare unless it's a stray bullet type of situation. They usually want to get their target, not leave any witnesses, but at the same token, they're usually focused on their target and not killing whole families.
Unless they're trying to send a message, and that's what, you know, is going on. The other way, just to mention what you had said, is there's also, when we learned in Segura in his police interrogation tape being asked about his son, it was kind of a wish-washy answer about Javante being his son. He goes, yeah, legally he's my son. He thought at one point he might not be his son. And so there's that conversation of, well, if you believe Segura did this, maybe he really didn't think Javante was his son. It was easier for him to do that. We're not at that point yet. However, I'll tell you where we are at. So Vance Wiggins is on the stand. He is a manager in the child support program. He helps parents who have custody of kids try to get financial help from the parents that do not have custody. And we know where this is going. This is now going into motive. The prosecution is trying to show, I would imagine at this point, that Segura had a motivation to kill Brandy Peters and the kids because he owed back child support payments. We're going to go back live and we'll hear more from this witness. Okay, Laura, so this is where we thought the prosecution was going to go after presenting the crime scene evidence, the medical examiner evidence, now talking about the motive here, and that with child support payments, if he doesn't pay, he's put in a position where he loses some rights and privileges, and that's where the prosecution is going with motive. Your thoughts?
I think it's ridiculous as a motive. I mean, true for everything that Ms. is saying, that it's possible to become incarcerated for child support, There certainly are consequences for unpaid child support, but I just can't imagine this. I have worked in the child support system, and it takes so long to get to the point of incarcerating someone because, of course, we want people who have to pay child support to be able to work, to earn money, to support their children. So just as Mr. Wiggins testified, incarceration is a last resort. So, I mean, of course there are consequences, and I'm not minimizing the importance or of the system for paying child support, but I just don't see this as a motive for a quadruple homicide. It just seems completely absurd. And people who don't pay child support in general are not walking around out there so afraid that they're going to get locked up for not payment that they're going to murder people to prevent them from testifying. To me, I would be more inclined to say if he had already been locked up for non-payment, if this woman had already been making moves, legal moves to really put the screws to him on child support, maybe the anger on that basis would be a motive, but
Right.
I'm not buying it at this phase.
Well, coupled with the fact that the first thing the defense said is he already owed child support payments to another woman. So even with Brandy Peters and the kids out of the way, he's going to be in the exact same position. Melba, if you believe that this is not the strongest motive, and we all know motive is not an element of a crime, but it sure does tell a story, and you need to tell a story by the state to understand why a man would kill 3 kids and a young woman here. I'm wondering if the jury's sitting back and saying, I don't like this motive. Maybe why didn't you show something else? Maybe he didn't. Maybe she was going to expose his cheating ways. Maybe he didn't like her. Maybe he didn't like the kids. Maybe he was angry. Give me something more to hold on to. If you want to say child support, maybe that's one part of the motivation. But they're going straight forward with this. And I'm curious if you think from the state's perspective, how come they couldn't find something else?
Yeah, so I think the main issue here is there's several layers that to build a case. And on some of the points that they brought out were
Melba, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. I think we're losing a little bit of your feed. I do want to hear your answer. So now's actually a good time. We'll take a break. When we come back, I do want to hear what you have to say, Melba, about this. So stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this, and we'll also be live.